Alright everybody, welcome back to the MMA Business Hour, and in today's episode we're going to discuss all things UFC 285. I'm going to talk about some of my favorite fights from the prelims and the entire main card. I'm going to go through each fight, let you know who I think is going to win these fights, and every reason why these fighters will come out victorious this weekend at UFC 285. Okay, let's first start off with probably the most interesting fight on the prelims. That is none other than Cody Garbrandt versus Trevin Jones. Trevin Jones has lost 3 fights in a row, but the dude packs a lot of power in his punches, as well as Cody Garbrandt. They're very similar fighters at this point in their career, but it seems like Trevin Jones has more trouble with the wrestlers. He got subbed in one of his last 3 losses, and the other 2 were by unanimous decision. But Cody Garbrandt, as we all know, has been absolutely obliterated in some of his last fights. Let's just see. Cody Garbrandt is currently 12-5 in the UFC. I think he's lost, what? Yeah, he's lost 4 out of his last 5. TJ Dillashaw, Munoz, Rob Font, and K. Car-France. Rob Font was the only decision out of all those losses, and the other 3, Cody Garbrandt was completely KO'd. So he's a loser out of 4. It's one of the saddest stories in UFC over the last decade is the rise and ultimate fall of Cody Garbrandt. It all started with that first TJ Dillashaw loss after he knocked down TJ, and if it wasn't for the end of the round, he probably wins that goes on to win that fight. Then, as destiny would have it, TJ Dillashaw kind of figured him out a little bit and knocked him out not only in that fight, but in the rematch as well. And then Cody Garbrandt went on to fight Rob Font for a decision, and he got KO'd by K. Car-France, and then he had that one-punch knockout against Rafael Assunção. Jones is a big step down in competition for Cody Garbrandt. So if he ends up losing this fight, the way he's lost his other fights, it's pretty much a wrap on Cody Garbrandt's career in the UFC. I think he still wants to keep fighting, but I don't know if the UFC is going to want to have a guy that every time he goes out there he's getting KO'd. If Cody Garbrandt fights that same backyard brawl type of style in this fight, he very well could get KO'd again. So I think Trevin Jones could actually be a live underdog. I think he's coming in at plus money around plus 180 or something like that. Let's see if I can find the odds real quick. Yeah, plus 145 for Trevin Jones. So that's a really interesting fight. I hope Cody Garbrandt wins. I think he brings a lot to the table. Fans really enjoy watching him fight, and his style is a fan favorite style. He's a kill or be killed kind of guy, and lately he's just been, the one getting murked. So, Cody, I hope you fight a little bit smarter and not so emotional, and because your boxing is some of the best in the UFC, but when you get into those wild exchanges, I mean, it only takes one to hit you in the chin, and then your chin is already shot, man. So we'll see what happens with Cody Garbrandt. Another fight that everyone is really interested in is Derek Brunson and Dricus du Plessis. Du Plessis just had a win over Darren Till. I think that was not even 2 months ago, that fight. But we saw Du Plessis' style where he wants to come out heavy in the first couple rounds, right? He wants to throw leather. I mean, that Darren Till fight in the first round probably could have got stopped. I mean, he didn't land any huge shots, but he landed enough that another referee, and probably if it wasn't Darren Till and it was some other guy, I mean, who knows how that fight plays out. But he did gas. And Derek Brunson's got that wrestler cardio, man. So he better, button it up a little bit and not blows load so early, because Derek Brunson is a tough guy, man. He has, I mean, Du Plessis, he's got 5 fights. Darren Till for a submission. He beat Tavares, Trevin Giles, Perez, and Lazar. 2 subs and 2 KOs and 1 unanimous decision over Brad Tavares. He's a really interesting fighter in this middleweight division, right? If he smokes Derek Brunson, he's probably going to be a top 5 guy, a top 3 guy in the division. if he goes out and he dominates Derek Brunson. So Derek Brunson is no easy fight for anybody in the UFC. He's a really good wrestler. His striking has improved as of late. I mean, he did just get murked by Jared Cannonier, but that, Cannonier is an animal. He's an absolute fucking monster. So losing to him is, there's no real shame in that. He beat Darren Till, Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazian, and Ian Heinisch. All pretty decent wins on this trajectory forward after he had some setbacks earlier in his career. I think Derek Brunson could be a live dog in this fight too, man. If this goes past the first round, I think Derek Brunson's chances of winning exponentially increase. Duplessis, he looked absolutely gassed in the second half of that Darren Till fight. And he won the first round, and I think Darren Till won the second. He was able to come out and, win the third. But Duplessis' wrestling is not as good as people think it is. I mean, I was watching some tape on him, and he had pulled guys on top of him right in the mount. I mean, Derek Brunson is one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. He's a little, accelerated in age right now. But I do think that if you guys are interested in an underdog, Derek Brunson is one underdog I really like in this on this card. All right, let's move on to the main event of the evening. Okay, the opening fight is Bo Nickel versus Jamie Pickett. I think the UFC set up this matchup so Bo Nickel's going to get an easy win. I think they think Jamie Pickett's very limited on the ground. And if you look, Bo Nickel, I mean, his wrestling is top-notch, right? I mean, he wrestled at Penn State. He's one of the best collegiate wrestlers of all time. He's improving his striking. He likes to throw leg kicks. He likes to throw that high kick, that left high kick. He's got a lot of different skills that are going to pose a lot of trouble for fighters in the UFC. But this is his first big pay-per-view. He's on the main card, a Jon Jones card nonetheless. And, I mean, there could be some, first fight jitters. He only has 3 professional fights. He's 3-0 right now. Jamie Pickett has a pretty garbage record, 13-8. I think he's I saw odds up to minus 2,000, which are absolutely insane. So I mean, I think everyone on planet Earth thinks that Bo Nickel's just going to run through Jamie Pickett. I think Bo Nickel takes this fight. I think he takes him down and gets a submission. So I mean, if you look for the submission odds on some of the sites, maybe you'll get better odds than that, minus 1,600 that's coming in right now. Probably the most competitive fight of this main card for me, in my opinion, is Mateusz Gamrot versus Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner is on an absolute tear as of late. I mean, he's a monster lightweight. Dude's 6'3". I mean, 77-inch reach is absolutely insane. Gamrot has a 70-inch reach, so he has a 7.5-inch reach advantage, which is absolutely insane. Gamrot is significantly better on the ground. It does say their submission average. I mean, Jalen Turner does like submission, so if he does get taken down, maybe look for him to scramble off his back. In the Mateusz Gamrot fight with Jalen Turner, I think Gamrot's going to be able to get it done. He's not only an incredible wrestler with great ground and pound, he's a great striker as well. He might find a little difficulty at first working his way inside. Jalen Turner has that incredible 77-inch reach. I mean, 7.5-inch reach advantage in this fight is going to be tough to deal with. And Jalen Turner is on a great winning streak, but this is a really huge step up in competition for Jalen Turner. So I think this fight's really going to decide who he is in this lightweight division. If he has a chance to make a top 10, a top 5, he's going to have to be able to beat guys like Gamrot. I don't really see him getting it done. I think Gamrot takes this. Let me know what you guys think about this fight in the comments below. Okay, moving on to the very next fight. Oh boy, we have a good one here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Rakhmonov is an absolute monster. When they were doing their face-off earlier this week, he's got to be, I wonder what it actually says. It says he only has 2 inches height advantage in this fight. But them standing face-to-face, it looks like 4 or 5 inches. Rakhmonov looks absolutely humongous. compared to Jeff Neal in this 170-pound welterweight division. Just the crazy part is Jeff Neal came in overweight 4 pounds. Dude, you've been talking shit all week and then you're going to miss weight? Come on, bro. Come on, Jeff Neal. You've been, you've had a chip on your shoulder all week and then you come in 4 pounds overweight. It's pretty shitty, bro. But I thought you'd be a live dog. Man, odds are blown up to plus 400. I think when people saw that face-off and saw the size discrepancy between these two fighters, they were like, oh shit, I need to lay some money on Rachmanov, especially with parlays. He's a great parlay piece. But at minus 550 now, I don't know about that. That can get your parlay blown up. Because Jeff Neal's got a shit ton of power, man. He beat the goddamn brakes off of Vicente Luque, who's got a pretty good iron chin, man, and he was just laying the wood on him. Is Jeff Neal going to be able to keep this fight standing? That's the big question here. Neil Magny was able to get him down on the ground several times in their fight, so I'm sticking with Rachmanov here, but Jeff Neal, if you want to throw some money down on a riskier bet, I think if he's plus 400, I mean, to win by KO, it's got to be like plus 800, plus 900, something in that range. So a $10, $20 bet to win $200 seems pretty dope to me. But I don't know, Jeff Neal. We're really going to find, I mean, the welterweight division is going to have a new prospect on the rise to break into that top 5. And maybe Jeff Neal, Rachmanov, whoever wins, takes on Wonderboy. I don't know if Wonderboy is going to want to fight Rachmanov, but even if Jeff Neal loses, that Wonderboy Thompson-Jeff Neal fight seems pretty fun to me. But I was looking over their records. I mean, Rachmanov has not really fought anybody of substance quite yet. He's been running through people, 3 subs and 2 KOs in his last 5, but, he's got Magny, Harris, Alex Oliveira. I mean, these guys are not elite level fighters. Neil Magny has been looking worse and worse every time he fights over his last few times out. If you're looking at strength of schedule, I mean, Jeff Neal's strength of schedule is 10 times what that is of Rachmanov. And I don't know if they're going to do the Stephen Thompson rematch. They fought in 2020, but it's interesting. I mean, Jeff Neal over his last 5, he's got Vicente Luque, Ponzinibbio, Magny, Thompson, and Mike Perry. I mean, besides Mike Perry, those 4 other dudes are killers, man. So it'll be really exciting to watch this fight. I mean, it says they're only 2 inches apart, but man, at that face-off, you really got to see the size difference between these two guys. It says only a 2-inch reach advantage as well. So, I mean, on paper, they look a lot closer than it looked in real life because, oh my God, Rachmanov looked like a goddamn monster in that face-off. All right, next we're going to go on to the co-main event of the evening, Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. Man, it's hard for me to see anybody beating Valentina at this point in her career. She's just such a diverse fighter, man. Her ground game is really good, and man, those leg kicks are absolutely incredible. She's really hard to get a hold of. She's really hard to time. She's just, man, she's getting up there with GOAT status with Amanda Nunes. I would like to see that rematch again, too. That would be really fun. Alexa Grasso is coming in with a 15-3 record. They're virtually identical in size-wise, both 5'5", 125 pounds. I mean, Grasso's on a 4-fight win streak. Her last loss was to Carla Esparza via majority decision. I don't know how. I don't think she has many paths to victory in this fight. I like Valentina Shevchenko to win this fight. Alexa Grasso, unless she's able to clip Valentina somehow and hurt her, that's her only real path to victory. I don't think she's going to win by submission. I don't think she's going to win any ground exchanges. Unless she wins by KO, I don't see any chance she wins this fight. I'm keeping it sweet and simple. Valentina's going to win this fight. I think probably pretty easy. But there is a really interesting bet I'm going to talk about on another video. All of Shevchenko's fights go over a round and a half. It's like 14 out of her last 15 fights or something like that. And the same thing with Jon Jones. So if you lay those two together, you get really, really amazing odds for those two fights. I think it's coming in at like minus 140. It's a really interesting bet, but I'll talk more about that in a betting video I'm going to release later. Okay, now we have what everyone's been waiting for. Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight championship of the world. Man, Jon Jones looked huge on the scale today, man. Oh my God, 248 to 247.5 for Gane. Man, holy shit, Jon Jones. He looked humongous. I thought Ciryl Gane was going to be able to use his size advantage a little bit in this fight. Man, seeing them next to each other, they're virtually identical height-wise. I mean, Ciryl Gane has a lot thicker lower half of his body. Jon Jones, all that weight is in his belly. He's Big Bones Jones now, boy. That boy is thick. He still got them bitch-ass chicken legs, though. So Ciryl Gane, that's a path to victory for him. If he could lay some of those monster leg kicks into those thighs, into his calves, man, Jon Jones doesn't have a lot of muscle in those legs. So it's only going to take a couple of those fucking calf kicks to really do some serious damage. And man, if anyone could fuck up Jon Jones' legs, it's Ciryl Gane, that's for goddamn sure. The odds are going up as we go later in the week. They're up to minus 190 for Jones and plus 160 for Ciryl Gane. So money's coming in on Jones. I expect that to continue through the weekend. So if you want to bet on Jones, you want to get that bet in as soon as possible. But I don't know who wins this fight. Originally I was like, Jon Jones has got this. And I watched some tape on Ciryl Gane, and I was like, he's very elusive for a big guy. And Jon Jones might have trouble finding him. And those leg kicks are deadly, man. And they are crazy. I mean, that leg kick he landed on Tai Tuivasa was absolutely ridiculous, man. So, man, if I'm a betting guy, I don't know if I like the money line in this too much. I mean, if anything, I want to bet like rounds, like over 1.5, over 2.5, over 3.5, because I think this fight could possibly go the distance. I don't think Jon Jones has the power to finish Ciryl Gane unless he's able to take him down, and Gane just cannot get up. He can't get off his back, and he's just kind of floundering on the ground. And we all know once Jon Jones postures up and starts landing those elbows, it's fucking over. But it'll be really interesting to see. Another thing I want to talk about that no one has really, I haven't heard anyone really mention this yet, is Jon Jones' cardio going to hold up with all that extra weight? Dude's weighing 248 pounds. I mean, his last fight was at 205. 40 pounds heavier he's fighting at. And man, when you put that weight on relatively in a short amount of time, I mean, he's probably put most of that weight on in the last year and a half, 2 years. It's going to be different. Your lungs are not used to working that hard to pump oxygen through all that mass that he's accumulated over these past 2 years, right? So that it'll be really, I think it's something bettors have to take into consideration and fight fans have to really keep in the forefront of their mind is Jon Jones' cardio going to be there in rounds 4 and 5, right? So I think the later the fight goes on, I mean, we saw Ciryl Gane gas a little bit against Ngannou, so that's why I don't know if we see a finish in this fight. I mean, my gut's telling me it's going to go to a decision. But Jon Jones might slow down in these later rounds, and that's when Ciryl Gane might be able to crank it up a little bit and come in for the kill. But I think the way Gane beats Jon Jones, if he lands those big, heavy body kicks, because the more damage you take to your body, it really zaps your cardio out. So if you can attack that body with front kicks and push kicks and straight leg kicks to the body, to the liver, he can really wear on Jon Jones' cardio. And Gane is a very active fighter in the sense that he doesn't really stay stationary, right? He's constantly moving all over the place, kind of like a Wonder Boy, where he's bouncing all over the place. He's changing up angles, trying to look for those angles to land head kicks and low kicks and straight punches. So it'll be really, I'm really curious to see how this fight plays out for a million reasons. There's so many variables going into it. So I think Jon Jones has the skill set to beat Ciryl Gane, but I think it's only going to take one of those big, massive head kicks to put Jon Jones on Queer Street. And maybe be looking for a way out. Jon Jones has his hands full because Ciryl Gane, he doesn't really have much to lose in this fight. If he loses to Jon Jones, he doesn't lose any stock. He wins another fight. If he fights Pavlovich next, because I just read that Stipe is going to fight the winner of this fight in July, so the loser will probably fight Sergey Pavlovich, around the same time, right? So if he loses to Jones, then he will fight Pavlovich, and the winner of that will probably fight the winner of the Stipe question mark fight, whoever wins the fight tonight. But I do like Jon Jones. I liked him more in the minus 150 range, but at minus 190, he could be someone you could, do a parlay with. But I'm sticking away from this fight for the most part with my bets this week. I think my final prediction is like Jon Jones by decision is going to be the way I'm going to go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below out of all these fights. I'm really curious to what all of the subscribers think of who's going to win these fights, how they're going to win these fights, and if you're laying any money down this weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this was a longer video, but we're almost at 200 subscribers. I can't tell you how thankful I am for all of you guys for tuning into all these videos. It's been super humbling. So we'll catch you guys on the next fight. Enjoy the fights. I'm going to be doing a live stream during some of the fights. Maybe not the whole main card, but maybe a couple, me and my buddy Scott. So check that out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again once again. And good luck if you guys are laying down some bets, and we'll catch you guys on the next fight.